A Prophet's Tale Introducing Jacob. Prophet Jacob holds a special place in the history of Islam. His story is one of the most compelling narratives in religious texts, filled with lessons and wisdom that have been passed down through generations. He is known as Yaqub in Arabic, a name that resonates deeply within the Islamic tradition. He is a link to the great prophets before him, forming a crucial part of a lineage that includes some of the most revered figures in religious history. These prophets include his grandfather Abraham and his father Isaac. Both of these figures are central to the Abrahamic faiths, and Jacob's connection to them underscores his importance. Jacob's life is a story of faith. His unwavering belief in God guided him through many trials and tribulations, serving as a beacon of hope and resilience. It is a story of perseverance. Despite facing numerous challenges, Jacob's determination and steadfastness never wavered, and it is a story of family. Jacob's relationships with his children and his role as a patriarch are central themes in his narrative. Jacob's life was filled with challenges. From sibling rivalry to personal struggles, his journey was far from easy. But he always stayed true to God. His faith was his anchor, providing him with the strength to overcome adversity. His story teaches us important lessons. Through his experiences, we learn about the virtues of patience, trust, and devotion. We learn about trust in God. Jacob's unwavering faith is a testament to the power of belief and reliance on divine guidance. We learn about the importance of family. His interactions with his children, especially Joseph, highlight the significance of familial bonds and responsibilities. And we learn about the power of forgiveness. Jacob's ability to forgive and seek reconciliation is a powerful lesson in compassion and understanding. Jacob's story is found in the Quran. His narrative is detailed and provides profound insights into his character and faith. It is also found in the Hebrew Bible. This shared heritage underscores the commonalities between the Abrahamic faiths. He is revered by Muslims and Jews alike. His story bridges cultural and religious divides, offering a shared narrative of faith and perseverance. His life offers guidance and inspiration. His story is timeless, providing lessons that are relevant even today. Let's explore the remarkable journey of Prophet Jacob. His life, filled with trials and triumphs, continues to inspire and guide us. Jacob was born in Canaan. This is a land in the Middle East. He was a twin. His brother's name was Esau. The twins were very different. Esau was a skilled hunter. He loved to be outdoors. Jacob was quiet and thoughtful. He preferred to stay at home. The boys' father Isaac loved them both, but he favored Esau. Their mother Rebekah favored Jacob. This created tension in the family. Even as children, the boys competed. They competed for their parents' love. This competition would shape their lives. It would lead to conflict and hardship. As the twins grew older, their rivalry intensified. What started as playful competition soon turned into a bitter struggle for dominance. Each brother wanted to outdo the other, and their bond began to fray. The once inseparable twins were now constantly at odds, their relationship strained by jealousy and ambition. One day, Esau came home from hunting. He had been out in the wilderness for days, tracking game and surviving the harsh elements. His body ached from the exertion, and his stomach growled with hunger. The hunt had been long and arduous, and he had little to show for it. He was starving and exhausted. Every step felt like a monumental effort, and his vision blurred from fatigue. He could barely think straight, his mind consumed by the overwhelming need for sustenance. The smell of food wafting through the air was almost too much to bear. Jacob was cooking a pot of lentil stew. The aroma of the simmering stew filled the air, rich and inviting. Jacob had always been the more domestic of the two, preferring the comforts of home to the wild adventures that Esau sought. He stirred the pot thoughtfully, unaware of the drama about to unfold. "Please," begged Esau, "give me some of that stew, I'm famished." Jacob saw an opportunity. He had always envied Esau's birthright, the privilege of being the firstborn. This was his chance to change his fate. He looked at his brother, who was practically on his knees, and a plan began to form in his mind. "I'll trade you for your birthright," he said. Esau, too hungry to think clearly, hesitated. The birthright was a significant thing, but at that moment, all he could think about was the gnawing pain in his stomach. Jacob's eyes gleamed with determination as he waited for his brother's response. The birthright was a big deal. It wasn't just about material wealth, it was about honor, responsibility, and the future of their family. The firstborn son would inherit their father's wealth and leadership, becoming the head of the family and the keeper of their legacy. It meant that the firstborn son would inherit their father's wealth and leadership. This was a role of great importance, one that came with both privileges and burdens. The birthright was a symbol of continuity, a promise that the family's traditions and values would be upheld. Esau, blinded by hunger, agreed. In that moment of weakness, he made a decision that would alter the course of his life. He traded his birthright for a bowl of stew, a choice driven by desperation and short-term need. Jacob handed him the stew, sealing the deal with a satisfied smile. He traded his birthright for a bowl of stew. As Esau devoured the food, the gravity of his decision began to sink in. But it was too late. The deal was done. Jacob had secured the birthright and with it, the future he had always dreamed of. Esau's hunger was sated, but at a tremendous cost. Years later, Isaac was old and blind. His once sharp eyes had dimmed with age, and he relied on his other senses to navigate the world. He knew his time was near and wanted to bestow his blessing upon his eldest son, a final act of paternal duty. He wanted to give Esau his blessing. Rebekah overheard this. She had always favored Jacob, believing he was the one destined to lead their family. The thought of Esau receiving the blessing filled her with dread. She knew she had to act quickly to ensure Jacob's future. She wanted Jacob to receive the blessing instead. She devised a plan. Rebekah called Jacob to her side and explained her scheme. They would deceive Isaac, taking advantage of his blindness to secure the blessing for Jacob. It was a risky plan, but Rebekah was determined. She disguised Jacob as Esau. They covered his arms with goatskins to mimic Esau's hairy skin and dressed him in Esau's clothes to capture his scent. Jacob was nervous, but his mother's confidence bolstered his resolve. He knew this was his chance to claim what he believed was rightfully his. Jacob went to his father. He approached Isaac with trepidation, his heart pounding in his chest. He called out to his father, imitating Esau's voice. Isaac, unable to see, reached out to touch him, feeling the goat skins and smelling the familiar scent of his eldest son. He tricked him into giving him the blessing. Isaac, convinced that he was speaking to Esau, bestowed his blessing upon Jacob. The words were powerful, conferring leadership, prosperity, and divine favor. Jacob felt a surge of triumph as the blessing was spoken, knowing he had secured his future. When Esau found out, he was furious. The betrayal cut deep, and his anger was overwhelming. He had lost not only his birthright but also his father's blessing, the two most important things in his life. His rage was palpable, and he vowed to make Jacob pay for his deceit. He vowed to kill Jacob. The thought of revenge consumed him, and he swore that he would not rest until he had avenged his loss. His heart burned with a desire for retribution, and he began to plot his brother's downfall. Rebekah, fearing for Jacob's life, sent him away. She knew Esau's wrath was deadly serious and that Jacob would not be safe as long as his brother harbored such hatred. With a heavy heart, she instructed Jacob to flee to her brother Laban's house, hoping that time and distance would heal the wounds of betrayal. Section 4. Jacob's Ladder, a dream of divine ascent. Jacob fled Canaan. He traveled for many days. He was alone and afraid. One night, he stopped to rest. He lay down on the ground and used a stone as a pillow. As he slept, he had a vivid dream. In his dream, Jacob saw a ladder. It reached all the way to heaven. Angels were ascending and descending the ladder. At the top of the ladder stood God. God spoke to Jacob. He promised to bless him and his descendants. Jacob awoke from his dream filled with awe. He realized that God was with him. This gave him the strength to continue his journey. Section 5. Laban's house, love, labor, and family. Jacob traveled to Haran, a journey that took him through vast and beautiful landscapes, filled with anticipation and hope for a new chapter in his life. This is where his uncle Laban lived, in a traditional village house that had seen generations of family history. Jacob planned to stay with Laban for a while, hoping to find a sense of belonging and purpose. Laban had two daughters, who were central to the unfolding story. Their names were Rachel and Leah. Rachel, the younger, was known for her beauty and grace, while Leah, the elder, had a kind and gentle spirit. Jacob fell deeply in love with Rachel. She was very beautiful, and her presence brought joy to his heart. Laban agreed to let Jacob marry Rachel, but he had a cunning plan. He tricked Jacob, exploiting his love and dedication. On the wedding night, Laban deceived Jacob, making him marry Leah first, under the cover of tradition and custom. Leah, Rachel's older sister, became Jacob's first wife, a twist that complicated his dreams and desires. Jacob worked tirelessly for Laban for 14 long years, driven by his love for Rachel and his commitment to his promise. His heart yearned to be with Rachel, and finally, after years of labor and patience, he was able to marry her. The wedding was a joyful celebration, marking the union of two hearts that had longed for each other. Jacob and his wives had a large family, blessed with 12 sons and 1 daughter, each child a testament to their enduring love and perseverance. These children would grow up to become the ancestors of the 12 tribes of Israel, a legacy that would shape the history of a nation. Jacob loved his children very much, cherishing every moment he spent with them, teaching them the values of love, labor, and family. He worked hard to provide for them, ensuring that they had everything they needed to thrive and carry forward the family legacy. Section 6. The 12 Tribes, Jacob's Enduring Legacy. Jacob's 12 sons are significant in religious history. They are the progenitors of the 12 tribes of Israel. Each son had a distinct personality and story. They would go on to lead their own families and tribes. These tribes would face challenges and triumphs. The 12 tribes would eventually form a nation. Their story is a testament to Jacob's legacy. It is a legacy of faith, family, and resilience. Jacob's descendants would become a great people. They would face many trials and tribulations, but they would always remember their ancestor Jacob. They would remember his faith in God. Section 7. Reconciliation and Return, a testament to forgiveness. After many years, Jacob decided to return to Canaan. He was afraid to face his brother Esau, but God reassured him. Jacob sent gifts ahead to Esau. He hoped to appease him. When the brothers finally met, Esau ran to Jacob. He embraced him. He forgave him for everything. Jacob was overjoyed. He had finally found peace with his brother. Jacob lived out the rest of his days in Canaan. He died at a ripe old age. He was surrounded by his loving family. Jacob's life is an inspiration. He teaches us about faith, he teaches us about perseverance, and he teaches us about the power of forgiveness.